welcome back to Tabletop Thoughts. In this video, I'm going to show off some of the modern scatter terrain that I built for when I was playing my superheroes game. You'll be able to see there's a bunch of this is homemade, some of it is converted, like I bought something and repainted it or recolored it. Some of it's all handmade, and some of it is just, toys that you buy that are almost the right scale you can just drop down and use. Alright, let's start off with something every modern table needs. Shipping containers. Just a box that I started with. Corrugated paper. Makes a nice ridge. Popsicle sticks, or these are probably skinny sticks. Same thing. A couple of, I think these are wooden, like dowels. Cut those to make it look like it's the doors that would open up the little. Not too bad. Here's another one that's a box. I colored this one. You can tell the paper was red. I didn't spray up here very well when I was spray painting them because I don't care so much. Here's another one. Made a couple slightly smaller just on foam. Put some trademarking on there. Made these a little nicer with, I believe these are like a wooden rod, but then I also cut it and stuck it on the side so it'd be like the handles that you pull in to open. I actually started thinking like, hey, maybe get rid of that color up underneath, but yeah, just made a stencil. Just put it on there and a quick spray with your airbrush, and you can put some names on here. Another one from Stark. Oh, I had the one stencil. I was gonna go crazy. This one I oversprayed a lot so it looked like it ran, so it's been out in the water and everything else. Who knows? Alright, here's some more stuff that I built. Little corrugated. I made these to sit on the roof of some of my buildings. So this would be the entrance onto the roof, because if you didn't have a power to climb, and that I would have like, hey, if you enter in the building, you can still run up the different floors inside. While you were inside, you were out of line of sight. And then if you made it to the roof, bam, here's how you got out. Here's something I missed on my paper craft. There he is. There's the menu for McDoom. So if you go through the drive-thru, you can actually get your meal. Alright, something every modern set needs. Billboards. So, here is something that I made. Levinson's uniforms and accessories is actually the symbol and everything is from a friend of mine I used to play Dungeons and Dragons with. He gave me one of his business cards before, so I actually took the icon, his logo here, added it on here with this awesome guy, which is a character I used to play on Champions Online. So he was like a superhero, he was Superman, but with a generic name, so I called him Awesome Man. And here you go. There, it's kind of glossy and that because I covered it because I didn't want it to get ruined. But then some grating and some sticks, and you have yourself a billboard. And for one of the roof main buildings, I made this sign. I even tried to paint these so they almost look like they're the spotlights shining down on it. So if it was night, you have the lights shining down on Wayne Enterprises billboard sign. You could drop this on top of one of those buildings that we had. You'd have another billboard. An accessory that's always nice to have, especially if you're playing a game like superheroes and that. I didn't make these, but I got these at the Dollar Tree, I think. They are just like real tall plastic clear shot glasses. I got these and I use them as flight stands. So if you have a hero who's flying, drop one of these down, you stick the hero on top of it. Now you can tell that he's up in the air. And what I would do is if they were, further up in the air, I would just drop more and more, show like hey, he's like 3 elevations up. So if he's that high up, he's plenty high. So you could use something like that. I believe the game was Power Legion, where they had something where you could make craters if you had like an impact or something like that and it ruined the pavement. So I made some. It's just a piece of cardboard with to make it look like it was the asphalt that broke it in. I just took some cork, broke it all up, stuck that on top of some dirt and stones and everything underneath it, and it looks like, that's an impact site where if you say the Hulk jumped into an area, boom, there's the crater he left. Or you could pick up a car and throw it where it hit, would make a crater, and then you could put the car somewhere else. But it looked not too bad for all the more work they were. Alright, some other stuff I made. Dumpsters. So I just made, the first couple I made, just flat squares with corrugation on top and the logo stuck on the side. They looked okay. I put a little wooden rod on the back for that would be the hinge for the lid. And then when I actually took my time and had a prox on where I could cut angles nicely, I made a better looking one. Although nowadays I would just 3D print one and it would look, great. Some other accessories. Some fencing I made. These are just counting chips. You can get like 1,000 of them for like $10 online. You just look up teacher aids. Apparently they sell these. They're exactly an inch. So that's what I use for some of my miniature bases nowadays. But granny grating, some wooden pieces. And that is a passable chain link fence. Here are some stuff that's kind of homemade, but that's a vending machine. I don't know if it'll focus, but you see, looks like there's chips and everything inside there behind the glass. I even tried to cut out the little door, put Coke on the side. I even made an ATM. I think it's a little tall, but when you just drop it on the corner, it fits in perfectly fine. Out of wooden sticks, I made a mailbox. Because, even in the future, superheroes and everything else, gotta have mail. This is something I purchased that you can get with all the little gnomes and garden little pieces that they sell. It's a little big, but if you just need a bench, you could drop something like that in. And what I made from foam and stuff like that, I made a bus stop. Little Superman on one side, Wolverine and Daredevil on the back, but welcome to New York City. Now you're waiting for the bus. And you can get your mail. Something else that every game pretty much needs, jersey barriers. These are really easy to make, especially if you get a prox on, because you could just cut the strips, set an angle on it, run them through. Once you cut one long one, you just cut them in pieces. I put metal screws in the bottom to give them a little weight, so see, they don't fall over very easily. Made a bunch of them. Some of them I even went and got a paper clip, cut it in pieces, made a little U, jabbed it in. That would be the little hooks that are on top of some that you see. They use to pick them up and put them into place. But these are always nice to block off your roads. And you don't need a lot. That's probably more than I've ever used. Alright, here's something that I needed a big robot, because you have to have a big robot in a superhero game. So I got this at the Dollar Tree. It was $1. Just super glued his limbs in place so he doesn't move and put him on a base. And you got yourself a giant robot. So I got 2 of them. And the other one I painted in the color scheme kind of like a Sentinel. So if I'm playing superheroes, you got an X-Men, you got to have a Sentinel looking for them. Who else going to hate your mutants? And looking around the thrift store, or sometimes you can find them for a couple of bucks, these die-cast cars. They are almost the right scale. Even a Batmobile, got a little dirt on them. But yeah, when I was playing Power Legion, I did some games with Batman and some of his friends versus a bunch of criminals. Dropped this, and I just said that's where they all started because they showed up together. But yeah, they have tons of different cars. So I bought, gotta have a van. Gotta always have delivery vans in the big city. Alright. Something else that you're going to need for your game, if you're playing like superheroes, stuff like that. So when I was playing, anybody who looked like just a generic crook, I placed them. As you can see, they're all pretty much HeroClix. Cut them off the base. I stuck all the generic goons on these yellow chips, so it'd be easier to tell, hey, that's just a goon. All the police I had, of course, they had to go onto a blue base. So, get a detective here, some kind of SWAT member. Here's a riot cop. I also had there we go. Bad guys like robots, so I had another one where I just had a bag. I bought them online. It was like robots versus aliens and all those different things. Color them up. You don't have to give them a great paint job, but if you had some minion robots, there was HeroClix ones. You could break them off, stick them into some. You got some robots. I might bust some of these guys out if I ever get my Neon Skies game up and running. This looks like a robot that could be used for like law enforcement or something. And if you're running a game, superhero stuff like that, you always need civilians. So what I did for civilians, I got a whole bunch. I found a reason to use all my Lego people. There we go. There's going to focus in there. I got a whole bag of Lego people, and I just used them for the civilians. So you could easily tell who was a civilian when I was playing the game. I didn't have to try to look down and say, hey, is that a minion? Is that a cop? Nope, obviously that one's a civilian. And that is pretty much my collection of things I use with my superhero game. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, check out the next video right here. It's packed with more great content. And as always, keep on gaming.